am here with Taylor Oxley, who is the director of this play, and I wanted to visit with you to hear a little bit about the Pocket Theater. I know that it's in the Ramble School, but that's about all I know.
Yes, the Pocket Theater actually was developed in 1991, and they were originally out at Temperance Hill, which used to be the old Hot Springs Outlet Mall. Mm-hmm. They put on a few shows out there, actually in a tent, and then in the early 90s they moved to the skating rink. Actually, they were beneath the skating rink for a while. In the early 2000s, they purchased the old Ramble Elementary School, which actually the school is no longer standing, but the auditorium is. Mm-hmm. And so it is an actual theater. And it's also the site where Bill Clinton actually went to school.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah,
okay.
It closed in like 1967, I believe, when Park Elementary opened. So if you do come down, you can actually see original desks. We have like 1 or 2 original desks.
That's pretty
from
cool.
the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of history here.
Yes, a lot of history.
Mm-hmm.
But now we are the Pocket Community Theater. It is a nonprofit organization, 501c. So if you donate anything to the Pocket Theater, it's actually tax deductible.
Oh, okay. All right. And so is the theater pretty much 100% supported by donations and things?
Oh, yes. Yeah. We're 100% supported by donations from, sometimes we get sponsorships. Ticket sales alone do not support the theater by far. We only actually draw in money 36 days out of the year because that's the number of shows that we put on in a year. Mm-hmm. So that's all of our income for an entire fiscal year for us. So we have to survive off of other donations from sponsors and things like that.
Well, I understand too that you're kind of upping the playbill a little bit and giving people an opportunity to even advertise on that.
That's actually an experiment.
Okay.
We've tried it in the past and it really hasn't turned out as well as we'd hoped, but we have some fresh blood. So we're hoping that we have enough people now to actually go out and get the ads that we need to make our playbill more professional looking, because it's very expensive to get that playbill printed.
Right.
So we print at least 1,000 for a show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. That's great to hear that we have that kind of attendance. So I hear that this play that you're doing is pretty elaborate. It's Sweeny Todd. So tell me a little bit about Sweeny Todd. I'd not heard of it. I know it's a horror flick of some sort. So.
Okay, well, Sweeney Todd, the musical that we're doing was actually written, the music is written by Stephen Sondheim. The original legend actually appeared as early as the 14th century. But I think it was around 1846, the current version of the legend appeared in a penny dreadful, and it was entitled The String of Pearls. The original Sweeney was motivated by greed, and so the string of pearls was what he coveted, and that's why he killed his customer.
Okay.
Now, Christopher Bond wrote an adaptation of that in 1970, and that play was put on in London in 1974, and that is what Stephen Sondheim saw and inspired him to make it into a musical. He approached Harold Prince, and Hugh Wheeler actually wrote the book adaptation of it so that they could make it into a musical, but one of the most difficult things that Sondheim encountered was trying to actually condense the material. And I think our audience will experience a little of that because it's probably going to be one of the longest shows that the Pocket has ever done.
Wow. Now, there is a movie version of this, right?
Yes, Tim Burton directed a movie in 2007, I believe, that starred Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter as Mrs. Lovett. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty famous. That movie actually cut out quite a bit of material too.
And it was long.
And it's a 2.5-hour movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, so without giving the plot away, tell me a little bit about what Sweeny Todd is.
Okay. Well, Sweeny Todd is known as the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, and at the beginning of the play, it takes place in Victorian London around 1840 or so, and at the beginning of the play, he has returned from Australia, where he was wrongfully transported for life for crimes he did not commit. and it's been about 15 years since that occurred, somewhere between 15 and 20 years, and he has shown up back in London to take revenge against the judge that sent him there. In the interim, we find out later on in the show what has happened to his wife and child. The judge has actually adopted the child as his own. And so all of that kind of sets the conflict of the play. Now, where Mrs. Lovett comes into play, she is actually the proprietor of the pie shop that is beneath his old tonsorial parlor. And so when he goes back looking for his wife and child, he, encounters her, and they kind of become in cahoots with one another.
Okay. So is this kind of a little bit of an edgy production for the Pocket?
It is for several reasons. Originally, when I proposed to the board to do this show, they did not think that we could do it. And there's many reasons for that. The Pocket typically does like romantic comedies with what's called a static set or a build out, which means that you have one set that does not change locations. It'll take place in like a New York apartment or something like that. And we usually have a small cast, the most being like 6 or 7. Every once in a while we'll do a show with like children and stuff where it's a much larger cast. But the size of this show is incredible. Currently, assuming that everybody, nobody gets sick and nobody breaks a leg or gets hurt or bit by a snake. Okay. We had one of our members bit by a snake, but there are 27 cast members.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And your set, we're probably going to take a little look around here and see the set. Obviously, you're in the process of continuing to build it, but you've actually even enlarged the stage for this production.
That was another reason why they didn't think we could do it. It has so many different scenes and where scenes take place that we actually had to extend our stage.
Wow.
So, and lighting that extension was an issue. I mean, we've just encountered all kinds of different things that we didn't anticipate and we're having to work around. The other things are that it's dark. It's a dark story. It's macabre, but the music, written by Sondheim is absolutely gorgeous. And I think that what's interesting about the play is that even though it's very dark, you feel very sorry for Sweeney. You kind of fall in love with his character, and you really don't want bad things to happen to him. But I mean, it is written as a Shakespearean tragedy, and that's why the cast is so large, because we have a Greek chorus, basically.
Wow. Now, is this your directing debut here? Have you done acting here in the past?
It is my directorial debut.
Okay.
I have directed other things, but never an actual show. And I have been in many shows here. Yeah, I was in like 4 out of the 6 shows last year, and then I was assistant director for the Christmas show last year.
Sounds like you've got a love for theater.
I do.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to hear a little bit about when this takes place. I know it's coming up in August, so give everybody the rundown on when it happens and how they can get tickets.
Sure. So we are opening on Friday, August 5th, and it runs the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and then the 12th, 13th, and 14th, so 2 weekends. The Friday night and Saturday night shows, the curtain is at 7:30, the house opens at 7. The Sundays are matinees, and the curtain is at 2:30, the house opens at 2. Tickets for musicals are a little bit higher than our typical show, so they're actually $15 for adults and $5 for children up to age 12. And I suggest that if you really want to see the show, you come the first weekend, because our audience are usually much larger the second weekend. It's harder to get a good seat. I also recommend that you make reservations. And
do you do that online, or do you call?
Yes, actually you can do both. You can do it online at the Pocket Theater's website, which is pockettheater.com, I believe.
Okay.
And it's theater with an R-E.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll put that on the screen, make sure that everybody gets it.
And you can also do it by calling and making reservations. It's 501-623-8585.
Okay.
The box office will open on August 1st for reservations.
Okay.
But but you can certainly call at any time, even if the box office isn't open, and leave a voicemail message, and someone will return your call to confirm your reservations.
Okay. All right. Well, I've enjoyed learning about this. I think it's going to be a fantastic production. I'm excited to see it, and I can guarantee you I'll go online and get my tickets.
I hope so. I hope everybody comes.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks so much for visiting with me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.